Hello, everybody. This is Angel Ribo, the CEO Confident, and welcome to Expansion Network, as you know, accelerating the consciousness of humanity every single day. We are yet again here at the Wise Traditions Conference organized by the Weston A. Prize Foundation. And we happen to be lucky enough to have with us Monica Corrado. Welcome to Expansion Network, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. She's actually one of the speakers here. We've been so blessed to have her here sitting next to us. And we're going to be talking about amazing stuff because she is indeed an incredible human being, a great communicator, and she does amazing things for humanity today. So, how would you typically introduce yourself when someone meets with you for the first time, Monica?
I would say that I am a teaching chef, holistic nutritionist, and the Gap chef.
Right. Do you think that people in general today need to know how to cook better?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, yes. Why? Because people are sick. And if you know how to eat real food and you know how to cook real food, you can be much better and certainly weather anything that's going on right now or into the future.
How did you become who you are today?
Oh my goodness. You want me to go way back
We
from
have
birth?
time. We have
No,
time.
no,
No
no.
worries.
So first I met Sally Fallon Morell, now Morell. Sally Fallon is the president and foundress of the Weston A. Price Foundation. And I had my own organic and biodynamic catering company in Washington, D.C. And I catered the first 2 or 3 Wise Traditions conferences. I met Sally. It was 27 people in a church basement in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Wow.
And it's grown to, we've got over 1,100, maybe 1,200 people here today.
Yeah.
And so it's just amazing. So I met Sally, and she wrote a book called Nourishing Traditions, which everyone should have. And I was asked to start teaching Nourishing Traditions. Someone who was at the conference that I catered said, "Hey, can you teach Nourishing Traditions? Like, how do you do this stuff? How do you ferment? How do you make stocks and broths? How do you make yogurt, and why?" And I said, "Sure." So I started teaching on a 6-foot table at a co-op in Bethesda, Maryland, on a burner, on an electric burner. I taught bone broth.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of my teaching, teaching this type of cooking. And then a couple of years later, Sally brought Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride to the US from the UK to teach about the gut and psychology syndrome diet. I heard Dr. Natasha speak and I said, "Oh, this is going to be tremendous. This is the answer to so many of our problems. We can use food to heal the gut, which then heals the brain," right? So GAPS is what we call it, GAPS. GAPS heals the gut, which helps the brain function. So autism, ADD, ADHD, schizophrenia, bipolar, depression. And now we know that if you heal the gut, you also can heal so many other things in the body. It's just amazing. So I met Dr. Natasha, I learned her protocol, and I started teaching that. So now I've been teaching for Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride. I'm on her teaching team. She dubbed me the GAPS chef. So it's official from the doctor who wrote this thing. I teach with her, I teach for her, certified GAPS practitioners and coaches and anyone else who wants to learn how to eat to be well. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you actually wrote the book as well, right?
Actually, I've written 5 books.
Oh, 5 books. Okay.
This is my latest book. The first book was called With Love from Grandmother's Kitchen, which was all Weston Price, Nourishing Traditions, very easy. You can still find it on my website. And then I started writing to help people in America learn how, and the world at this point, learn how to cook to heal specific to the GAPS diet. So this book, which is my current book,
Okay.
has 4 different books in it.
All right.
So I released them one at a time, and then I put them all together. It's all about how meat stock versus bone broth, and how to make yogurt, culturing dairy, and why it's important, how to do it, and all the cooking techniques you need to actually do the diet, heal your gut, as well as why. Like, why should we do this? How do we do this? When do we do this? How long do we do this? How do we move back and forth? So that's this book, which is, it is my 5th book, but it is a compilation plus more.
Okay. Let me ask you something, because you mentioned dairy, and I think
Yes.
there's a lot of controversy about dairy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there that say, dairy is as you said, it's good and it's healing, but many other people say, lots of our health problems come from dairy. So it's one of the most controversial subjects in human diet today.
Yes.
Why would you say that's the case?
Oh, very good question. Well, the first thing we have to know is that when we are trying to be well, when we are trying to heal, and just when we're trying to be healthy in our lives, I mean, I just want to wake up with energy. I don't want my bones to creak, all that stuff. We need to remember that whenever I'm talking about food, and whenever the Weston A. Price Foundation is talking about food, we're talking about the cleanest food you can find. So the first thing we have to remember is that we're looking for clean food straight from the farmers when we can get it, or the farmer's market, or raised yourself, etc. Clean food in its most natural state. So that's one issue here, because when you talk about dairy, the dairy industry in this country is not clean. It is confined animal feeding operations where you have cows in confinement, right, that are in feedlots, that are standing in their own excrement, that are then milked, and then they are pasteurized, homogenized, and sold as milk. So if we want to talk about dairy, whether it's healing or not, the first thing we want to say is, where did the milk come from?
Right.
And the vast majority of milk in the US is from these confined animal feeding operations called CAFOs, and that's not healthy milk. So everyone, the vast majority of people, more than the vast, everyone who's drinking commercial milk, organic or not, if it's pasteurized, it's really not milk any longer. So people have problems. Often if we move people off of pasteurized milk and onto clean raw milk, which they can find through a project of the Weston A. Price Foundation called realmilk.com. You find, like, where's a farmer who has real milk that I can get, right? Again, that's one of these things that we do here, that Sally does, and the foundation does and supports. So that's the first place we have to go, is what milk are you drinking, number one. It's not all the same. It's almost worse. It's not even apples and oranges. It's apples and zucchini. I don't know. It's just not the same. So you have to start there. And then, are you getting milk from cows that are raised on pasture? That's the first question, yes or no. Okay. Is it pasteurized? Yes or no. So first, it needs to be on pasture. Second, it needs to be raw. Third, it needs to be cultured in a way that people can digest it.
Right.
So a lot of things that happen, I work with a lot of people with food allergies and sensitivities. Oh, I can't do dairy. I can't do dairy.
Exactly.
That's what I hear. I can't do dairy. I can't drink it. I don't like it.
Right on.
It doesn't do good. It doesn't do well for me. I bloat, or I get constipated. I mean, I'm a chef, but I talk about these bowel movement things. So that is because they are drinking, if it's already, right, it's going to be beautiful pastured milk, and it is pastured, not pasteurized, and it is, right, and then they culture it. If you culture it long, meaning if you make it into yogurt, or you make it into kefir is what everybody says over here, kefir, yogurt, sour cream, cultured cream. When you culture this beautiful milk that comes from cows who are eating what they're supposed to, grass on pasture, you don't have those issues anymore. They go away. So two things happen with this GAPS diet. One is we heal and seal the gut, which is the cause of why you have allergies and food allergies and eczema and all sorts of things, which will help you digest everything, number one. And number two, when we work with dairy, we make sure that it's the best quality we can find, right? It's not pasteurized, if at all possible, and it's cultured. And the good microbes, the good bacteria, they eat the lactose, which is the milk sugar, which is causing your bloating. It's the milk sugar that causes the bloating. So if you do a yogurt, so then they'll say, yeah, I tried yogurt too, it didn't work. And I say, okay, did you have commercial yogurt or did you make it yourself? This is learn to make it
So we
yourself.
can, exactly, I was going to ask you. So let's say we start looking for a place where we can buy raw milk,
Yes,
and we ask them, obviously, if it's pastured, right? It
yes.
should be. It's not pasteurized.
No, no, raw milk will be pastured.
Exactly.
Done. Yes.
Done. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Will not be pasteurized.
Correct. Raw
Exactly.
milk is not pasteurized.
Exactly. And then if we want to have yogurt, we can actually buy that raw milk
Yes.
and then culture it at home. Is that something that
Absolutely.
we can do?
Easy.
We can do it.
Absolutely.
Those, I remember when I was young, I'm originally from Spain. I remember my mom would actually prepare her own yogurts at home with one of those machines that she would put at night.
Sure.
And after a few hours in the morning when we wake up, they would be like really warm,
Yes.
small, glasses
Little
of,
glass.
exactly.
Yes. Yes.
That's a good way.
That's a good way.
And those machines can be actually, by the way, found everywhere.
Yes, and if you want all the lactose to be gone, you need to culture it for 24 hours,
Right.
not 6 or 8 or 12. And you do it, if it's raw milk, it's at a certain temperature, which is 110 degrees
Okay.
Fahrenheit. I know we have Celsius people listening
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
So all of this, yes, that's what I teach.
So, but
That's what
there's
the book
machines
is
that
all
help us
about.
to do that.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about milk and dairy because, as you know, it's such an important part of our diet. When you go to a grocery store, as you know, there are, how many feet of shelves, of refrigerated shelves with milks. It's so many different kinds of milks, right?
Yes,
Even plant-based milks.
that's not even, we could talk about that too.
Exactly. We can talk about that. So I would really like it here at Expansion Network to give us like small nuggets so people can take away the specific things that they can start,
Yes,
doing.
yes.
So you said something extremely important, which is the more cultured it is, the less allergenic potentially it is.
Yes, well, so allergies are one thing, sensitivities are other things.
Okay.
So most people, when they say I bloat, I cramp, I get constipated, I don't feel good. Those are usually sensitivities to the amount of lactose in the yogurt.
Right.
Okay. This is if someone has an allergy to dairy and they come to me or to any of the other certified GAPS practitioners or Dr. Natasha, whatever, and they say I have an allergy. I have an allergy test. It's been done. Da da da. Then we say you must heal and seal the gut. You must. That's the answer. We have to heal and seal the gut with meat stock, not bone broth, by the way. And I could talk about that for hours and days because that's where I started writing because people were thinking that bone broth was healing the gut, but it's really meat stock. In any case,
And people buy lots of collagen in boxes, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about this because actually, as you know, everybody that is concerned about rejuvenation and aging,
Oh, sure.
and also the people that are going to, let's say, exercise a lot and work out a lot.
Yes.
Many people because of the joints and everything. So there's a lot of knowledge around those concepts that probably that knowledge is not necessarily wisdom. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
What's the difference between the collagen that you can find on a broth, right?
Oh,
And
man,
what we
talking
can...
my language.
Okay.
So I'm the speaker. I taught that class this
Thank you.
weekend. That's what I taught.
Oh, all right.
So Sally Fallon, who I've known for many, many years, and I've been on her honorary board for 21 years, asks me to teach the cooking at these conferences. So this class was stocks and broths, now more than ever. And so let's just say the first thing is when you start isolating anything, so collagen powder is an isolated, it's a food fraction. It is not food, it is a food fraction.
Mm-hmm.
It is out of context. It is, right, it's they pulled something out and then they put it through a very big process. It's
Yes.
highly processed.
Absolutely.
So it's no longer food, it's a powder. So one of the things that we know as we start talking about real food and healing and health is that, one of the primary principles of healing is no processed foods. Collagen powder is one of the most highly processed foods there is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's out. I'm just going to say that. So, and when we take anything out of context, the body can't use it. I mean, right? I mean, the body can't use it. It's just like, oh, I'm going to take vitamin A or vitamin D without the A and the E, in any case. And the body can't use it. It sends so many things out of balance. So, so stocks and broths, yeah. We want real food, right? So when you make a stock, which is a meat stock, a short cooked stock, so easy, so wonderful. Or you make a bone broth, which in gaps we do after we're healed, right? It's a very sustainable thing to do. You make a meat stock with meaty bones, and then you save the bones and you make bone broth later. It's wonderful. Right. So what happens when we have meat stock and bone broth, when we actually make that food in our own kitchen, first of all, we know where it came from. We hope. I mean, we'd like you to get it straight from a farmer or, right, a good, sustainable, clean source. So that's important for healing. And then when you make it into a food that you're eating, it's giving you the complete thing. You're getting amino acids, you're getting gelatin, we hope, which has collagen in it, right?
It was a
yes,
touch up
gelatin,
yeah, exactly.
collagen. You get electrolytic minerals. You get all sorts of, the complete package, if you will. And it's nourishing to the body. Mm-hmm. So what stocks and broths are the building blocks of healing. And so you get these things where your joints, so these gelatinous stocks and broths are made from what we call connective tissue. Like we take the connective tissue and we cook it in water and we let the triple helix of the collagen protein molecule unravels and becomes gelatin for you when you cool it. Okay, that's what happens with the Mm-hmm. And then we eat that, and it helps all of our connective tissue. It helps our skin be supple. It helps our hair be radiant. It helps our nails be strong. And it gives our bones the flexibility they need so they're not brittle as we age. And our joints, here's the deal. You want to heal your joints? You got to eat joints. Mm-hmm. And so how do you make a stock or a broth? You make it with joints.
But how do can we go to the normal mainstream grocery store or butcher and ask
for joints?
For joints?
Sure.
But so, what precautions what questions should we ask?
Very good.
To make sure that we are buying the right joints?
Sure. So the first thing you want to do, again, we're trying to make a healing food here, exactly. Right? And we want to limit the amount of toxins coming into our bodies.
Exactly.
So you go to a butcher. I don't even know, are there butcher shops anymore? I don't know. They're usually in the grocery, right? A few. If you're blessed to have a butcher around the corner, go for it.
Absolutely.
But so we're going to go we either work directly with the farmer, right? You can ask them if I'm going to make meat stock, what you're looking for, or you can go to the butcher, the meat counter, whatever. You ask, is this grass-fed and finished beef? Are these pastured chickens? One more time, we're trying to get out of this industrial food model and get to what was really intended. Like cows are supposed to be on pasture, right? Aren't they? Isn't that where God didn't put them in factory buildings? They're supposed to be out on pasture. Yeah? And so chickens are supposed to be out on pasture. So you say, do you have any pastured, bones? Yes or no? They say no, you're out of there. Right? And then you say some of the terminology for the beef bones would be grass-fed and finished.
What does finished mean? Yeah.
Finished is really important because what happens is, first of all, nobody has to put this on a label.
That's why.
There's no labeling going on here. There's no, as far as I know, and I stay on it as best I can, there's no, certain criteria to be able to put grass-fed on some meat that you buy in the store. So we wanted to say grass-fed and finished. So you could have a farmer that had grass-fed beef all this time, and then the last 6 weeks they're going to put them on grain. And when they put them on grain, they're only going to feed them grain.
Why would they do that?
They would do that to fatten up the animal.
Oh, okay.
So they want to fatten up the animal because beef is sold by the pound. So you want a nice big, so grass-fed and finished tends to be leaner, more lean, higher in conjugated linoleic acid. Say that 3 times fast. CLA, right? Which is a wonderful thing. And so when you put them on grain, not a lot of the benefits of grass-fed is gone. 6 weeks gone. So you really want grass-fed and finished beef, bison, right? And then for chicken, you want 100% pasture raised. Those are the terms you're looking for. And if you're going to make meat stock from the beef or the lamb or the pork or the bison or whatever, or even the chicken, what you're looking for beef, bison, lamb, etc. You're looking for shanks. You're looking for ribs. What you want is meaty bones that have connective tissue, or meaty bones with a joint in it. That's what you're looking for.
How can we, I mean, if we're not experts on animal anatomy, how
Yeah.
can we identify the joints? So
Well, let's do it together.
Exactly.
You mean so for people can understand?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Go like that. Come on. Let's do it together. How about your neck? Moving your neck, right? So when you think about a joint, right? Like these are joints. What are the places in the body that allow you to move? That's where the cartilage is. That's where the gelatin's going to be. So when you think about what's going to give me gelatin, you think about things like neck bones, right? You say, hey, and by the way, they're pretty cheap too. Very inexpensive cut.
Actually, my grandfather used to love the necks.
Yes. Well, he knew.
He knew.
He knew.
He knew something I didn't.
Well,
Well,
you're learning it again.
Now you reminded me
That's right. That's right.
of his teachings.
There you go. Neck bones, wonderful. Tail, like for oxtail. You can get an oxtail, beautiful, gelatinous, delicious. Broth, stock, meat. So you're looking for necks. You're looking for what's called knuckles, which really aren't knuckles. They're actually the knee of the cow. But knuckles, necks, any kind of joints.
It can only be cows, or it can be any
No,
animal.
cow,
Okay.
beef, lamb, pork, any mammal.
Okay.
Necks. Right?
Goats.
Necks, and you can get ears. I mean, you can get ears. If you can get a pig's head, or hooves. That's too much for most people, so we'll put that over there for now.
Okay.
But things like necks and knuckles, great. They give you beautiful gelatinous stock and broth. If you're working with chicken, turkey, quail, you name it, a bird, you're gonna cook a bird, you are looking for necks, backs, wings. Where's the cartilage? Feet. Yeah, or anything that allows them to move. That's what's going to give you the joints. Joints equal gelatin.
Will we find in your book how to cook them? Because
Absolutely.
let me tell you a secret.
Yes.
We have tried at home several times, because I remember from when I was a kid, my grandma, when she kept the stock in the fridge, it would be a gelatin.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. She was serving it as in like squares kind of thing.
Yes.
And then, after a while, when it gets like to room temperature, or when she was,
right, when she cooks it.
Yeah. It would obviously melt, right?
Yeah.
But today we've tried that. Probably we didn't pick the right bones. Probably that's the reason. But
well,
we've tried to have the same kind of gelatin,
yes,
gelatin-like.
Yes, gelatinous.
Gelatinous, exactly. Broth or stock, and we haven't been able to do it. It's probably because of that.
Well, I have in my book, I have all the reasons why it could not work. So one of the reasons is what's the quality of the bones?
Okay.
If you're not getting grass-fed and grass-finished, you're working with an inferior product, which actually won't have what you need to actually have it gel. I mean,
so it's a good test for the place.
It's a great test
for the place that we buy.
Yes,
from, right?
That's the first thing.
Exactly.
Then, are you adding too much water? So if you have too much water to the amount of bones you have, it'll never gel. It'll be waterlogged. So those are the top two. Did you get good is your quality of bones where it should be? And then really number two is, did you have enough bones? Enough of that type of bones?
Mm-hmm.
You need the raw material to actually have that happen. Mm-hmm. And then did you have too much water? Those are the top three. Then temperature and time are more, a couple more. Did you make it too high? Did you cook it too high? If you cooked it too high, you're not going to get any gelatin.
I was going to say, because also...
No boiling.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
No boiling.
So when you put it in one of those pressure cookers...
Pressure cookers?
No? Like the
normal... Come on.
Okay.
Let's put it on the stove.
You said under how many degrees?
So if you're cooking it on the stove, you can cook it in a Dutch oven. Or a stock pot, whatever. You just want to bring it to a boil.
Okay.
Skim the scum and discard it. Okay. The amount of scum that comes up is going to also be a great indicator of how clean are those bones. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of foam and scum? Not quite sure, right?
All right.
You don't? Yeah. And you've got a good source. It's just another little nuance.
That's awesome.
So you bring it to a boil, skim and discard scum, put it to a simmer. Lid, you can have chicken stock in an hour and a half to 3 hours. And dinner, by the way, right? And then that's chicken stock. That's a meat stock. Meat stocks are shorter cooked, more meaty bones, very healing to the gut. Bone broth is longer, so it would be 6 to 8 to 24 hours bones on the stove on a burner. You can also do it in the oven. You can do it in a slow cooker. Yeah, all those good things.
Amazing. Well, I think that we could go on and on and
We
on
could.
because this is so much related to obviously every single thing that we do every single day.
Yes.
Eating is a priority, and unfortunately, there's millions and millions of people dying of all sorts of conditions that could be prevented
Yes.
if we just paid more attention to our gut. Correct?
Yes. And might I say one more thing? There's a
Of course.
reason, like chicken soups and stocks have been used to bring people to heal it, back to health, to nurse them back to health for hundreds of years. I mean, this is like your grandmother, your great grandmother, and you said your grandfather.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. What did they do? They cooked the bones.
Absolutely.
And they made gelatinous soup and stock.
Yeah.
And then you felt better.
Oh, absolutely.
So right now in these times.
And it was delicious.
And it was delicious.
Yeah, nothing compared to.
Right?
Absolutely.
It nourishes your body, it nourishes your soul, it nourishes. Yeah, very important stuff.
Awesome. So Monica, what's the best way for the audience to reach out to you?
Great. Simplybeingwell.com.
Simplybeingwell.
Simplybeingwell.com. I have all my books there, I have my charts there, et cetera, et cetera. I have, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, all sorts of things. So Monica Corrado is my name. Dr. Natasha calls me the Gap Chef. And I've been doing this stuff for a long time. It's really my passion to help people be well through food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been our absolute pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all our audience who's right now at home and watching this interview. Thank you so much. As I said before, we are here in Texas, in Allen, Texas, for the Wise Traditions Conference organized by the Western A. Price Foundation. Yes. Thank you again, Monica, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.